Since the dawn of civilization, humans have always been captivated by the mysteries of the universe. In the quest of understanding what once was, few topics evoke as much fascination and intrigue as the study of extinct animals. From the majestic dinosaurs of prehistoric times to the mysterious megafauna of ancient eras, the quest to unravel the secrets of these long-gone creatures ignites our curiosity to the extent that scientists are now trying to bring them back to life. As our understanding of biology deepens, scientists are now turning what once seemed like pure science fiction into reality. With the help of ancient DNA extracted from perfectly preserved specimens in permafrost and museum collections, these biotechnologists are one step closer to piecing together the genetic puzzles of creatures that seemed long gone. This isn't about bringing back the dinosaurs. That enigma has yet to be cracked. Instead, the focus has been put on bringing back prehistoric animals that coexisted alongside our ancestors. In this video, we'll explore the fascinating science and intricate ethics of de-extinction. We'll dive how these efforts could reshape our ecosystems and our understanding of biodiversity. Join us as we unveil the top 8 extinct animals that scientists are working to bring back from the depths of history. Number 1. The Irish elk. Despite its name, it isn't closely related to the modern elk. Instead, it is classified as a species of deer named Megaloceros. Based on its anatomy and evolutionary lineage, its name Irish elk is somewhat misleading, as it neither originated in Ireland nor was it exclusive to that region. The term elk historically referred to a large deer species in Europe, but its modern usage in North America typically refers to a different species of deer. Of all the members of the Megaloceros, the Irish elk was the biggest of them all. Its size was comparable to the size of today's modern moose, standing up as high as 7 feet at the shoulder and sporting the most extensive antlers among any form of deer known to mankind, some reaching up to 4 meters or about 13 feet across. The antlers distinguished themselves from those of modern deer, featuring a substantial single sheet from which emerged a sequence of pointed projections, or tines. How they grew their antlers to that size is still unknown, even more surprisingly when scientists discovered that the Irish elk was likely a browser. In simple ecology terms, it means that they would feed mostly on leaves, twigs, and shrubs in forested habitats. Its massive size and robust antlers may have allowed it to access high-quality vegetation that other herbivores could not reach. Having said that, these giant antlers weren't solely for appearances. It is theorized that these antlers became as big as they did because of sexual selection. Drawing from its closest relative, the fallow deer, it can be hypothesized that throughout the mating season, the male Irish elks assembled in what is known as a lek. In this designated area, females congregate while males engage in competition through vocalizations, parallel displays, and physical combat. During this demonstration of power, larger antlers likely served as a more intimidating feature to rival males and were more appealing to females, who would venture into the lek to select their mate. Later on, they would then shed their antlers in spring, then grow a new pair during the summer months, ready for the mating season in autumn. Centuries later, it turns out that the Irish elk is a good candidate for SCNT, or somatic cell nuclear transfer, which involves transferring the nucleus of a donor cell into an egg cell that has had its nucleus removed. Preservation has always been a setback when talking about bringing an extinct species back to life. However, due to the fact that the Irish elk reside in cold climates, some of their carcasses got frozen in ice. As the ice melted, scientists have been able to recover well-preserved frozen remains and use their DNA in an effort to clone them. As we get closer to reintroducing cloned Irish elks into their former habitats, it could present logistical and ecological challenges. Firstly, the original habitats of the Irish elk may have undergone significant changes since their extinction, such as habitat loss, fragmentation, or the introduction of non-native species. These alterations could affect the availability of suitable food sources, shelter, and mating areas for the cloned individuals. Besides, the ecological dynamics of these habitats may have shifted in the absence of the Irish elk, potentially leading to imbalances or competition with other species now occupying similar niches. Introducing cloned individuals could disrupt existing ecosystems and interactions among native flora and fauna. Successful reintroduction would require careful management to ensure the health and survival of the cloned individuals. Factors such as genetic diversity, disease susceptibility, and adaptation to current environmental conditions would need to be considered to promote the long-term viability of the reintroduced population. While cloning the Irish elk may offer scientific insights and conservation opportunities, bringing them back into their former habitats would require thorough planning, monitoring, and adaptive management strategies to address potential challenges and ensure their successful integration into existing ecosystems. Number 2. The huia. Mostly habited in the forest of New Zealand, its last confirmed sighting was in 1907. Equipped with stunning black feathers and a sharp, white-tipped tail made them easily recognizable. What made the huia stand out is due to the coordinated tasks of its male and female beaks, the male possessing a sturdy beak for breaking into logs, while the female had a longer, curved beak, suited for extracting beetle larvae, their primary food source, a rare trait among birds. Unfortunately, this species of bird vanished in the early 20th century, mostly due to its habitat loss and the introduction of different mammalian predators caused by the nomadic nature of our European ancestors. Recent progress in the extraction and analysis of ancient DNA has presented scientists with the opportunity they were seeking to delve deeper into their research. Scientists have now been able to completely map out the extinct animal's genome, bringing us one step closer to bringing back the huia back to life. Number 3. The Tasmanian tiger. Also known as the thylacine or the Tasmanian wolf, it was a mixed breed of a wolf, a coyote, a tiger, and a kangaroo. Around 4,000 years ago, this incredibly unique marsupial carnivore roamed from Papua New Guinea to Tasmania. When dingoes arrived, they pushed the Tasmanian tiger out of mainland Australia and possibly Papua New Guinea. However, these predators never reached Tasmania, allowing them to survive much longer there than in other regions. This isolation made Tasmania a final refuge for the species, preserving its presence until its lamentable extinction in the 20th century. And by the 1930s, the Tasmanian tiger had completely vanished, primarily due to genetic uniformity, environmental changes, and extensive bounty hunting put out by the government in order to protect its livestock. Despite their rapid disappearance, numerous thylacine specimens have been preserved in jars and remain intact, with some even retaining viable DNA in museum taxidermy. There is strong support within Australia for bringing back the Tasmanian tiger, with efforts focused on preserving their natural habitats. Scientists have managed to incorporate the Tasmanian tiger genes into the genome of a mouse, achieving the expression of these genes in a mouse fetus. However, the ambitious project to clone the Tasmanian tiger was halted when the Australian Museum faced challenges in gathering sufficient DNA to create a species-specific genetic library. Number 4. The ancient bison. With a mass of 1,600 kilograms as an adult, this is probably one of the strongest cows that ever walked the earth. While describing it as a cow may be somewhat of an understatement, the bison was a colossal species of prehistoric time that thrived in Pleistocene North America, taking its rightful place in the food chain, as it could go head-to-head with other creatures like the mammoths and the saber-toothed cats. It is the predecessor of the American bison as we know it today, which you might recognize from places like Yellowstone. The ancient bison was perfectly adapted to the diverse Pleistocene habitats across North America. They roamed meadows, woodlands, and grasslands, stretching from Mexico to Alaska. What made them remarkable was their ability to thrive in a broad range of geographical areas and varied environments. Much like modern bison, they lived in social groups and migrated with the seasons and shifting resources. And then, between 10,000 and 11,000 years ago, at the end of the last ice age, the bison went extinct alongside many other Pleistocene megafauna. While the precise reasons for their extinction remain unclear, it likely involved a mix of environmental factors such as human hunting and climate change. It's a classic example of how extinction often results from multiple interacting forces, not just one. Given that humans have been selectively breeding cattle for as long as our history records, we've accumulated extensive knowledge about the reproduction of species like bison. Our efforts in cattle breeding for meat have provided us with a deep understanding of their reproductive systems, making us exceptionally skilled at breeding these animals. To date, no attempts have been made to bring back the ancient bison. We have this enormous extinct bison that we could potentially revive quite rapidly if we chose to. However, this challenge remained unclaimed thus far. Number 5. The Pyrenean ibex. Believed to have become extinct primarily due to its immense value as a vital resource for humans. This herbivorous creature was a fascinating European goat that once roamed the rugged Pyrenees Mountains, which form the natural border between France and Spain. Although despite being officially ruled extinct, some reports suggest that a small, isolated group might still be navigating those cliffs. In spite of Europe's dense population, it's entirely plausible that such agile creatures could evade human detection for years, thanks to their remarkable ability to scale terrain that would be inaccessible to us without advanced climbing gear. What was responsible for these creatures' extinction wasn't just hunting alone. Introduced diseases, likely spread by domestic animals, also played a crucial role. Then the latter half of the 20th century, conservation efforts intensified as their numbers dwindled. Despite these efforts, the species was officially declared extinct when the last known Pyrenean ibex, a female named Celia, died in 2000 when a falling tree landed on her. Even our efforts to clone the Pyrenean ibex met with heartbreak. Celia was cloned in 2003, but the newborn clone suffered from lung abnormalities and only survived several minutes. This setback halted further cloning attempts, and after 2 decades of advancements in technology and our understanding of similar species, it might just bring us to a point where we can successfully clone the Pyrenean ibex. Number 6. The saber-toothed cats. Easy to recognize by its large canine teeth. After the extinction of the dinosaurs, these predators, also known as smilodons, quickly climbed to the top of the food chain, despite their depiction in the movie Ice Age. The saber-toothed cats thrived in warmer climates, often hunting in packs, patiently hidden in tall grass as they waited for their next prey. They initially inhabited North America and Europe before expanding to Asia, Africa, and South America. Their fossils can be found all over the continent, such as the famous La Brea tar pits located in Los Angeles. While many well-preserved fossils have been left behind, the reality of bringing back such creatures faces significant challenges. For starters, the likelihood of extracting sufficient ancient DNA to create a comprehensive genetic library is slim. Even if the genetic hurdles were overcome, the practicalities of finding a suitable unrelated surrogate species capable of gestating and raising a saber-toothed cub are daunting. Ethical and ecological considerations further complicate the picture. Guidelines from the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, generally advise against attempts to resurrect species that cannot be returned to a stable, suitable habitat or that might disrupt current ecosystems. Thus, while the thought of saber-toothed cats once again roaming the earth is thrilling, the complexities and responsibilities of such scientific endeavors make it a highly speculative venture. Number 7. The dodo. In the past 4 centuries, at least 75 bird species became extinct. Of all these tragic species, the dodo stands out the most. This creature serves as a notable illustration of what human-based extinction looks like. When Europeans first landed on the island of Mauritius in the late 16th century, they encountered a strange bird. It was a gigantic, flightless pigeon with a huge beak and lacked any predatory animal instincts. Due to its clumsiness nature, they christened it with a Portuguese term signifying simpleton. Even though in the same family of birds, the dodo did not have the ability to fly, it's believed that this flightless species was able to survive for this long because the island of Maurice had no apparent predators. Unfortunately, with the initial contact of human settlers, they also brought with them rats, cats, pigs, and monkeys to the island. Maintaining a particular lifestyle for so long, dodos had no ability to escape these new creatures. Furthermore, realizing how precious their resources were, settlers later hunted the dodos for food and their feathers. According to recorded history, the birds calmly approached sailors, showing no sign of fear, even as their companions were being slaughtered. And within 40 to 50 years of the island's discovery, the dodo had completely vanished. Fast forward more than 400 years later, Colossal Biosciences, a pioneer in the field of genetic resurrection, after another round of $150 million in funding, announced that the dodo will be joining the lineup of species they are attempting to bring back to life. The idea of resurrecting the dodo started in 2002, when Beth Shapiro, led paleogeneticist and a scientific advisory board member at Colossal Biosciences, published that her team had extracted a tiny piece of a bird's mitochondrial DNA. The DNA contained within tiny structures known as mitochondria, which is inherited maternally from one generation to the next. That snippet of mtDNA showed the dodo's closest living relative was the Nicobar pigeon, and 2 decades later, Shapiro announced that her team had reconstructed the dodo's entire genome. Even though that is just one piece of the puzzle, scientists remain hopeful that one day we'll be able to reintroduce the dodo back into the world. There is hope that work focused on dodo habitat restoration could have knock-on benefits for other endemic plants and animals, and even that the reintroduced bird may directly contribute to restoring its own ecosystem. As we've seen in past cases, the introduction of giant tortoises to an island near Mauritius, intended to replace an extinct species, has contributed to the resurgence of native ebony trees. This was made possible through the tortoises consuming their fruit and dispersing their seeds across the landscape. Number 8. The woolly rhinoceros. Once an Ice Age colossus that preferred to live in temperate climates or in grasslands, this giant, cloaked in a thick, shaggy coat and crowned with a formidable horn, predominantly inhabited in lowlands, plateaus, and river valleys characterized by its dry climates. During favorable climate phases, it migrated to higher elevations. However, it avoided mountain ranges due to the challenges posed by heavy snow and steep terrain, which the animal found difficult to traverse. Contrary to some of the creatures on our list, the woolly rhinoceros isn't believed to be extinct due to human hunting. Surprisingly, numerous rhinoceros fossils were discovered in caves, like the Kulna Cave in Central Europe, environments not typical for either rhinoceroses or humans. It is believed that predators like hyenas might have transported rhinoceros remains to these locations. However, the main cause of their extinction probably resulted from abrupt climate shifts occurring during the Bowling-Allerod interstadium, a period characterized by the swift retreat of Pleistocene ice sheets starting around 14,700 years ago. Throughout the years, scientists have discovered exquisitely well-preserved remains in the Arctic permafrost, harvesting vital genetic material that could unlock the potential for de-extinction. And in August 2020, after being revealed by melting permafrost close to a prior fossil excavation site, a complete rhinoceros was discovered. The rhino was between 3 and 4 years old, and it is thought that the cause of death was drowning. It is one of the best preserved animals recovered from the region, having most of its internal organs intact. The discovery was also notable for the preservation of a small nasal horn, a rarity as these normally decompose quickly. As menacing or threatening the woolly rhinoceros looked due to its formidable physical attributes, there is little evidence to suggest that it was particularly dangerous to humans. Like modern rhinoceroses, it was likely herbivorous and primarily grazed on vegetation. While it may have been capable of defending itself if threatened, it probably did not actively seek out confrontations with humans. In general, interactions between prehistoric humans and large mammals like the woolly rhinoceros would probably have been influenced by factors such as habitat, resource availability, and hunting strategies rather than inherent aggressiveness on the part of the animal. So while there are ethical, ecological, and practical considerations to address, the idea of the woolly rhinoceros and humans living alongside could potentially offer intriguing possibilities. Now, while the idea of reviving extinct species is undeniably captivating, it is crucial to exercise caution. The manipulation of ancient DNA to revive extinct species might seem like a triumph of scientific ingenuity. It, however, also brings the possibility of genetic engineering going rogue. As scientists explore the complex web of ancient genetic codes, they venture dangerously close to uncharted territory. The quest to resurrect long-lost creatures may inadvertently unleash genetic monsters and grotesque abominations of nature, born from the unpredictable fusion of ancient and modern DNA. These hybrid creatures could have terrifying characteristics that are impossible to understand and threaten the very fabric of human existence. So perhaps the more pressing question is, what burden do we carry in harnessing such extraordinary power?